All right, we are live here at Latinos for Trump, Latinos for America First. We're going to wait for some viewers here. I have a special guest tonight, April Salazar. We're going to talk about her story. And so, April, let's just kind of let some people join in on our podcast here. I'm going to share this real quick here. April, let's just kind of let some. I'm in the background here. You can hear me. Let me get this shared out a little bit here.
Okay.
Some share to a page. Actually, not that one. All right. Hi, everybody. Let's get this. Let's share this live right now. This is going to be a really good story here that we've got to get out. So if you guys can help me share this and let people know, tag people, let them know that we are live right now with April Salazar. She has got a very, I'd say, sad story in the state of Texas. And I felt the need to come on tonight and try to get her message out. First of all, thank you, April, for making some time on a Friday night at that, to be on with us right now to come and tell your story. Will you just introduce yourself really quick to our audience and let them know, a little bit of background on you and who you are?
Thank you very much, Bianca, for having me on tonight. This is very important to me. My name is April Salazar. I'm an Afghan vet. I did 2 tours in Afghanistan. I was medically discharged as an E6 staff sergeant. I have 3 daughters and 1 son. The youngest of my daughters is 17 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I raised my children military style, with strict rules and strict discipline, hoping that one day those rules and regulations that I instilled in my children would help them with some of the tribulations that life throws at us sometimes.
Right.
About 2 months ago, we've lived on a farm in South Texas for about 19 years.
Okay.
About 7 years ago, my ex-husband and I separated, and I wanted my children to stay on the farm where it was safer than the city. I moved to Austin to start being more political.
Right.
And I wanted my children to stay on the farm in a smaller town where I believed it would have been safer.
Mm-hmm.
So my children stayed with their father, and I went to see him every single weekend. There has not been a weekend that's passed that I have not went to go see my children. 2 months ago, my 17-year-old daughter was on her way to school. Remember, 2 months ago, it was still dark at 6:30 in the morning.
Yes, correct, because of the time change.
There was a stop sign that my daughter had to stop at all times when she went to school. When she stopped at that stop sign, 8 adult male illegal immigrants surrounded her car.
I call them illegal aliens, but being kind to say immigrants. They're not really immigrants. They're illegal aliens, according
You're
to
absolutely right. You're right.
So yeah, there's 8 of them. 8 of them. I thought it was 3,
8 adults. 8 adults. 8
God.
adult men surrounding my 17-year-old daughter's car. One of the men busted the passenger side window and got in the car with my daughter.
Oh my God.
All of my children are very fluent in Spanish, as myself. So there was no language barrier, and there was no mistaking of what he told her. He told her that they were going to abduct her, rape her, steal her car.
They literally said that to her.
Yes, he told her that.
Oh my God.
He told her that. I've always taken my kids hunting since they were small, since they were little. So they know how to use firearms. Thank God. Never in a million years did I ever think in my worst nightmares that one of my children would shoot somebody. Never did I ever dream of that. That is a parent's worst nightmare. My daughter defended herself. She shot the guy point blank range in the chest. He died almost instantly. The other 8 men ran off. My daughter has been traumatized from this. She no longer wants to leave the house. She don't want to go to school. She don't want to go to work. I've had to put her in therapies. Me being ex-military, my kids are United States citizens. My daughter now has to go to court to defend herself again for defending her life as a United States citizen.
Mm. So April, this is something that's obviously for months now we've been talking about I know that they first said border crisis. I call it a border invasion, and people have been brushing it off. That nothing's exactly it is, and people have been brushing it off. They're acting as if nothing is happening, nothing's going on. The administration won't even go and visit any of these facilities that are being put up right now. You're telling me your 17-year-old daughter on her way to school was surrounded by not one, not two, but 8
adult
males, busted her window open, and flat out told her they were going to abduct her, rape her, and steal her car. Flat out. And
my daughter, I've always insisted my daughters carry a pistol in their car because sometimes they come home late to the farm from school events or from sporting events because they're all in sports. Mm-hmm. And there's big animals out there on our farm that could, we have mountain lions, we have coyotes. And I told him, always carry your pistol with you just in case, you get caught in a situation with an animal that you're going to have to kill the animal. Never, Bianca, never in my wildest nightmares did I ever think it would be used against another human to save my daughter's own life.
So, and just tell me, don't have to put out the city or anything, but, or not even the county. Are you in South Texas or East Texas?
South Texas.
So you're in South Texas, where it's been heavily hit more. Now they're they're still being hit, but now it seems that Del Rio, that whole sector from Eagle Pass to Del Rio, is out of control. But early on, we were seeing it was out of control in the Rio Grande Valley, in all that southern, and as people don't realize, it's like, okay, well, they've come through illegally, and then they're moving on. They're not staying in McAllen or in Edinburgh or in Harlingen. They're moving all the way up north
of the United States.
They're coming everywhere. They're being flown all over the country. And here your daughter, on her merry way to school, of all places, she's going to school, doesn't think anything of it on a normal day. She's going to school. She gets surrounded at a stop sign by 8 illegal alien adults. So she defends herself.
Yes.
And can you explain to us, because now what shocked me was that you were telling me on the phone that your daughter now has to go to federal court to defend herself because she had a firearm. I guess under the age, because she was a minor, she had a firearm, but she was defending herself. Have you reached out to Legal Shield, NRA, or any of the Second Amendment groups? What is anybody helping you?
Yes, this is an attorney. We do have an attorney. My attorney stated that more than likely they're going to dismiss all charges because of the circumstances.
Right.
They're talking right now in regards to that. She has court next month. So we're just waiting for, them to decide what they're going to do. I don't care what I have to spend to defend my daughter and her rights. I will.
You are a veteran yourself,
yes, ma'am,
who fought for the country, and here you raised your kids to learn to defend themselves. You've taught them the best that you could and raised them the right way, right? According to what you have been taught yourself, your military trained. And here we have a young child, 17 years old, that defended herself. And, I know that they're telling you this in the court, that they're going to possibly dismiss it. But, April, with the way things are going right now in this country, there's no guarantees to anything being dismissed. So we've got a 17-year-old girl who defended herself because she was I mean, they were going to rape her, and we all know that was going to happen. Listen, they do that when they're crossing the border. There is rape trees along the border. So if you think that it just happens to the people, the illegal women that are coming across the border, that's wrong. They're going to do it. If they do it there, they're going to do it elsewhere.
Well, they're targeting the teens.
They're targeting the teens because they think that they're vulnerable, and they, you know, it's easier. I mean, I don't know if you heard about the child that was, what, 10 years old, and she was brutally raped.
Nine.
9 years old, and she was raped. And she, when the Border Patrol agents found her, she was screaming so loud that her voice was
went out.
This is horrible. So here we are, you know, our own governor, our, you know, legislators, our administration, I mean, from the bottom all the way to the top, are ignoring this situation. Have you knocked on some of our legislators' doors? I'm curious and to know what, if you have, and what they've said to you.
Bianca, in regards to the Del Rio all the way up to El Paso, Eagle Pass, and Dallas area, I was told by a trooper that checkpoint is no longer operable. There's not enough people to operate that checkpoint, so it's closed. I have been at the Capitol 3 times this week, and I will be going back Monday. I'm not giving up.
Have you talked to any of the legislators, though?
Yes, ma'am, I have, and including I have an appointment at 9:30 with Mr. James White.
Okay. Has any other legislator reached out to you? Attorney General, Governor, Lieutenant Governor, has anybody reached out to you about your story?
No, and James White heard it firsthand. I'm also with Warriors for Ranchers. And so when my friend Mike, who is in charge of Warriors for Ranchers, went and testified on a bill a couple of weeks ago, I was there, and I'm the one that recorded him. After Mike testified, I testified, and I told my story in front of them. The only one who came out to talk to me about my story was James White.
Do you know where he's a House rep at?
He is District 19.
District 19.
Yes, ma'am.
So I suggest our audience give Mr. House Rep in Texas, James White, a call and let him know that this is of urgency, and our children are now being exploited, you know, being surrounded by illegals in, you know, pretty much, I mean, she almost got raped. Had she not defended herself, she would have been raped. Had she not had a gun, she would have had 8 men take a turn on her at 17 years old.
Bianca, I'm terrified they would have killed her.
They probably would have. And that is just disgraceful. It is frustrating. It is upsetting, and it is despicable that this is what is happening with all of the illegals. Everybody says, oh, poor people. Not all of them are poor. There is bad people coming across. And we know it, and they're bringing drugs, and they've got guns, and they have bad intentions. Not all of them are here for good reason. I mean, there might be some, but they're not all. And right now, the borders are wide open. They're wide open, and the legislators in DC are trying to tell people that the border is closed. It's not closed.
It's far from closed.
It's not closed, and so. So Mike Miller, I interviewed him a couple weeks ago, and kind of gave him a platform so he could tell his story, and that's how he started to grow, because he attended a town hall and heard so many stories, and he said, we have to live out here, and not everybody is wanting to be vocal, right? Because you have to live there, and if people are speaking out, they can come and try to make your life miserable. But he's brave because he's doing it. So I'm glad you guys have joined forces and you met Mike, and you can work together with bringing some light to what's really going on. We have called on behalf of our organization, April. I'll let you know, we've been calling the governor's office. We've been calling the lieutenant governor's office. We've been calling our legislators. And we have been basically demanding that they close that border or do something more than just send 1,000 National Guard down there that have no authority to do anything other than call the Border Patrol agents and say, hey, we've got 100 people right here for you. They can't detain them. They can't even tell them to go back. They can't, they can't do anything. They're just accepting them. They're just bringing them in.
Let me tell you what I was told at the Capitol, Bianca, in regards to that. I was told, and a friend of mine was with me, Sheena, and another friend, Terry, was with me. You know Sheena.
Yes.
Both of them was with me. And we were walking the halls. We were going into legislators' offices. We're in this fight together. And we were told that just because, National Guard is down there doesn't mean that they can do anything. Like you said, you're absolutely right. Border Patrol is spread so thin. There's one Border Patrol for every 50 miles.
Correct.
And there's huge gaps in the wall.
Yes.
Them borders are wide open. And it's a free-for-all between El Paso and Dallas because there's no checkpoints.
Yeah, you're exactly right. No checkpoints, no nothing. But April, forget that there's no checkpoints. These people are illegally coming across, and in the Rio Grande Valley, as you know, you're in South Texas. So these people are being processed. They're being taken to Catholic charities. And let go without court dates. They're being taken, given a package. They're being flown to wherever they want to fly to. They're giving them government documents. They're giving them IDs. They're giving them a check of $1,400 to $1,500. They're giving them gift cards.
They're also giving them work permits.
I mean, there you go. This is insane. It's insane that we're even having it. It's sad.
I'll tell you how I know that one, Bianca. I own a construction and remodeling business. I've had 3 of them from Guatemala, 1 from Guatemala and 2 from Honduras, come up to my husband and ask for a job. And he says, we can't hire people that's undocumented. And they said, oh, no, we just got our work permit. They handed the work permit to my husband.
I wonder if did y'all check if we're legitimate or they're just obtaining fake work permits?
They're legit. I have E-Verified. They're legit.
Wow. So now they're just handing them work permits. I mean,
remember, the administration said that they were going to get work permits for them.
This is so crazy.
Do you remember when the administration said that?
No, I didn't. I knew they were giving them IDs to get them on a plane and on a bus to travel wherever their destination was.
And not all of them have IDs, and they are allowed on planes without IDs.
So that and what I hear is that they don't even go through the TSA line, where us American citizens go through the TSA line, but they don't go through the TSA line. They just go right around it. I mean, this is a hypocrisy of our government right now.
This is a national security issue, Bianca.
Huge. And now your daughter, you have a personal story because your daughter was approached. I mean, they busted her truck, her glass door. I mean, they literally went in and told her, we're going to rape you and abduct you, and steal your vehicle. To be told that those people aren't here to work.
No, they're not.
Those people are here because you know what? And I know that, I mean, people will be like, oh, you can't call these people animals. No, they're animals. They have no sense of
animalistic behavior.
Well, here's the thing. What have they charged your daughter with? Is it because she shot the guy? They're not charging her with murder or anything. Are they? What are they charging her with?
A minor in possession of a firearm.
Wow. A minor, but well, thank God they haven't gotten her for trying to say she murdered people, because I've heard stories right now that the prosecutors, DA's office are pretty much telling ranchers and farmers and anybody out in the country that if they see illegal, that you can't shoot them. You got to just go back in your house, let them pass by. Meanwhile, they can tear up your property, break into your home, they can steal your car, they can damage fence lines, they can
Oh,
break
we've
your
had
water.
$30,000 in fence line damage already.
Oh my God.
We've had 2 of our Angus bulls slaughtered and ate.
Oh my gosh. So this is, I mean, I know Mike's been telling me stories, but I mean, and I'm sure you're not the only story, Angel. I mean, have you been meeting other people in your local area that have maybe not had the extreme where, I mean, I am so sorry to hear this about your daughter, but I'm sure they're probably having to deal with things themselves on their properties.
Bianca, I have friends of mine that have a ranch that it's been broke into numerous times and they've trashed it. They've trashed it. And I mean, they just leave like bras and panties and whatever behind, wherever it lays.
So disgusting.
You know,
Well, I
and to
want to,
think that these are the people that renters are going to be renting to, landlords are going to be renting to, because in some counties now it's illegal to deny them housing.
so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. Our own citizens in this country are being treated as if they are domestic terrorists, yet these people are crossing illegally and destroying everything and anything and getting treated like first class citizens, and they're not.
Well,
This
not
is
only that, Bianca, think about it. Who's the one that shut down our nation for so long due to COVID? And how many people are coming over here COVID positive?
yes, they've said what 140 something thousand have tested positive,
Yes, 148,000 people have
and
tested positive.
they're released. They're not. They're put in hotels, and those they can just. There's nobody watching them. They can pretty much leave hotels and walk around and do whatever they want to do.
You're absolutely
And
right. You don't have
and
to
still being
quarantine.
put on, yeah, still being put on airplanes and you know buses or whatever, and being shipped out to wherever they want to go. This is insane. Have you, so you're working with Warriors for Ranchers. Is
Yes.
there anything else that you are needing? I know you said you got an attorney. Is there somewhere people can follow you to share your story? I
Yes,
think,
I'm on Facebook, April
okay,
Salazar.
okay,
Um, I'm on, you know, Texas Citizens for Border Truth. I'm on I'm on numerous platforms on Facebook and numerous groups.
okay.
Um, they can also follow me through you because I've allied with you too now, Blanca, and there's nothing I wouldn't do to help your group also.
Well, I thank you for that, April. Is there any kind of, are you doing a GoFundMe account or anything for the lawyer fees? Is there anything that you
I
specifically
don't
made?
need that. I think the good Lord above that He has blessed me financially, so I'm not in need of that.
Thank
Um,
God.
and also, the attorney has basically said he's not going to charge us due to the circumstances, and he wants this. He wants to fight for my daughter.
Amen. Amen.
He's a very godly, Christian, loving man. Um, I ask people to go to the Capitol with us, walk the hallways with us, talk with lawmakers with us. We've got to stop this, guys. If we don't, look at how our rights are being violated already. We're
Mhm.
basically, our rights are extinct
Yeah,
right now
pretty much.
because we're being stepped on like we're a rug,
Right.
and they're being lifted up like they're US citizens and we're not.
Right. Well, April, I want to make sure that we do a call of action on this podcast here. And, just for those that have joined late, if you haven't heard April's story, her daughter was pretty much attacked, was on the verge of being raped by 8 illegal alien adult men. She defended herself with a firearm, and now she's finding herself going to federal court because she was in possession of a firearm. And that's wrong on so many levels. But I urge all of our base, every person out there, as she says, we've got to go to the hallways of our own capital. We've got to be calling our legislators. Listen, it doesn't matter. I know that, like, sometimes conservatives think, well, I live in a blue district, or, it doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter who your representative or your senator is. They're there once they're elected to serve, and they have to pretty much listen to all constituents. And so I urge you, specifically if you really are in a blue area, that you need to be calling those people up and telling them, that you are
Very
advocating
much so.
for April and her daughter, and telling that story and saying, look, we're now getting accounts of these atrocities to happen, in our own state, and what are you going to do about it? So I urge everybody to call, starting with Governor Abbott. You got to keep the pressure on him. One of the things that I found very upsetting, and I think Sheena was telling me, is that a lot of these elected officials have pretty much pony showed that they're, all these bills, and passed them in the House and the Senate, and they pass them and they toss them back and forth, but none of them have really made it to the governors for any signatures, and their committees have pretty much shut down, and their bills are just sitting there, even though they've passed, but nobody's moving them along in the process.
Right.
And she was telling me they've even like taken the phone lines down, so that because they were getting, an inundated amount.
Their phones.
They've unplugged their phones. And so, you know what? But we have internet, and we can email them every day and say, you don't want to answer your phone. You better answer you're going to get emails. And, my call of action is, I'm going to hold this Republican Party, accountable. I am anybody who sits there and says, oh, yes, we're going to support the governor and the lieutenant governor. They're so wonderful. No, they're not. Stop accepting these people for being wonderful. They're not. They're not wonderful. They're career politicians. They have pretty much used and abused us, from the Democrats to the Republicans, and we're sick of it. We, the people, are sick of it. And we need to start finding new, fresh blood running, that are, people who are ready for that call to not go be a career politician, but to go and give us some solutions in government. And this is not about, the power and the money anymore. It's about real life issues that are happening in all of our communities across the state of Texas and this country. So I am urging all of our people to share April's message, and to start calling your legislators and say, hey, we've been calling you on the border invasion. Don't call it a crisis, guys. Call it an invasion, because that's what it is. Exactly. Say we have what I think the number that I got was 800,000 apprehensions now. That's apprehensions. That's not counting the people that they haven't apprehended and have just run through the border. So we have a huge invasion here in the state of Texas, and we need to make sure that our legislators are hearing us. I did tell my group, April, that I do want to make a trip to Austin and go walk those halls and have certain letters typed up, for different things that we're advocating for, and saying, here, this is what we're here to represent, and we're calling on you to have action taken, or you will be primaried and voted out. It's just that simple.
I'm glad you said that, Bianca, because I want to stop and take this time, for one, to thank you for having me on.
You're welcome.
And for two, to invite everybody the 31st of May. I will be speaking at the Capitol stairs, along with Mike from Warriors for Ranchers.
Okay.
At 9:00 in the morning. I also want to proudly say that due to the situation that happened to my daughter, I will now be throwing my hat into the state politics of Texas.
Good for you. Good for you. That's what we need, is people who, this is what it's sad, April, that it has to take you to go through something in that's so tragic, that touches home, that activates people, because so many people have been just in their bubble and they're just living their daily lives, until it hits home is when people are like, oh my God, but now it's me. Now a lot
of people think it's never going to happen to them. Let me tell you something.
Yes.
It can happen to the best of us. I'm military. I never thought it would happen to me either. Look who it happened to. It happened to me. It happened to my daughter.
Exactly. I'm very sorry, April. On behalf of our organization, we are very sorry that you and your daughter, are having to go through this. And we're, going to pray for her because, God turns a victim into a victor. And that's what your daughter
Yeah,
is going to be. She's going to, we're going to pray for her to be bold. I can't imagine at 17 years old being in that situation. I remember when I was 16, 17, 18 years old. I can't. I wasn't faced with any of those things. I wasn't, that those things were not really happening when I was growing up. I mean, we had other issues, but I wasn't thinking that, oh my God, there's illegals running around all over the place and they're stealing cars, they're trying to break in, they're trying to abduct girls, they're trying to rape girls, murder people, having flat out gunfire in people's ranches and killing each other off.
right.
People being found dead in properties and deer, what
And
is
the
it?
deer blinds.
On the deer blinds. I mean, there's a whole lot of crazy out there. I mean, I know Mike's story, as you know, he was shot at, by illegals on his own ranch.
Yep, he was.
And so this is happening on a daily basis. I know Maria, our second vice president, was pretty much just putting stuff out. We get it from the ranchers, we get it from those pages, and we're sharing those stories and saying, oh, here's another one. Here's almost every day in a county, they're having 1, 2, 3 hot pursuits of
The
illegals.
bailouts.
It's like it's gone mad. I feel so bad for our sheriffs because they're having to pick up the mantle because
Yeah.
our regular law enforcement governor isn't doing anything about it. Everybody's ignoring it, and the sheriffs are, trying to bind and and do things together, coalition together to be the saviors,
Right.
and
And then you
standing
got
in the
places
gap.
like Austin that are wanting to defund the police. And who, in
Correct.
what right mind are you going to defund the police in these times?
Well, look what's happening in New York. Just yesterday, I think, or the day before, I was
Exactly.
reading that they defunded the police, and then now you have these older Black senior citizens coming out saying, we didn't ask for this. We didn't ask
Right.
to defund the police. And our communities, I've got guns, going off 2 houses down. I got drive-bys now. We can't call anybody to come help us. There's
Right.
no one to answer
There's
the phone.
literally no one that can call.
Yeah, and not only that, April, because of all of the rioting and looting and anarchy in New York, like I don't even remember. It was a large percentage of their own law enforcement walked out. They
Yes,
resigned, retired early, did whatever. They were gone from their job. So
that's what's
even
happening
if they
in
wanted
Austin.
to respond, yeah, even if they wanted to respond, they can't. There's
That's
nobody there.
exactly, Bianca, what is happening in Austin. They just defunded the entire motorcade for the motorcycle police.
Oh my
A lot of
gosh.
our officers are retiring. They're not able to replace the officers fast enough. So what does that do to the safety of the citizens of Austin? And that's another reason why I've decided to go into politics. We've got to stop the insanity.
What are you thinking? What are you exploring when you say you want to get involved? What are you exploring, April?
I'm exploring state politics as senator.
Okay. What region would that be in?
It would be in Travis County region.
Okay. So in the Austin area.
Yeah, in the Austin area.
Okay. Which we need
I
a lot of.
want to stay as close to this capital as I can because we need to make it known that we are no longer going to sit on our behinds, but we
Yes.
will be at the Capitol and we'll be knocking on your door and we will be speaking with you peacefully. Yes. Adults,
Yes.
adult, yes. We're not
Yes.
there to cause any trouble or anything else. What we want is we want answers, we want resolutions, and we want them now. We don't
Yeah.
want them 3 years from now. We want them now.
Correct. Yeah, you're exactly right. I think that's what a lot of people are looking for right now. President Trump set the bar really high. He went
Super
in
high.
super high. And so for most of us that were, enjoying his policies, right? Because they were good for the country.
They were amazing.
It's hard to now go back and we're going America last instead of America first. And
Right.
it's hard to look back and go, We don't have a standard, and all these politicians can't meet that standard because they've been telling us for 20, 30 years that they're going to fix something they haven't fixed in 20, 30 years. So Trump, yeah, false promises, but it's because it's become a business for them. They're power hungry and money hungry, and so they no longer really care about anybody. They just care about themselves. It's a self agenda. And Trump went in there and actually said, hey, this is what I'm going to do. These are the 10 things I promise you. And he did almost every single one.
He did every single one of them.
Every single one of them. So it's like,
I don't know if there'll ever be another president like my president, Donald Trump, because he is my president. He is the legitimate president still to the United States.
Exactly. And I think that's why a lot of us are being, called to get up off of our high knees and be involved at all levels and in all kinds of ways that we can be involved. April, I want to connect you with one of our legislative affairs directors. She's out of the Austin area, and I need to connect you with her because I think that you both can help each other out. She's the one she's been writing the elected officials on our behalf. She's been sending out letters. She's been calling their offices, and then she tells us pretty much like, hey, these are the bills for this week, and this is what we need to be tuning into or fighting for or calling on behalf of or showing up. So I really thank you, and I thank Sheena, and I thank Chokol. I know there's several of you that have been up there in Austin, consistently on a daily basis, trying to hold these people accountable. And I think that we're in for a rude awakening. I'm pretty sad because I don't have faith in our legislators here in Texas. I really don't. I don't think they're going to pass hardly. I mean, I think even though they things have passed in the Senate, things have passed in the House, but they're not going to get to the governor's desk.
No, so I think they're going to sit on someone else's desk. I agree with you.
They're going to sit on somebody else's desk, and they're going to say, "Well, we passed it," and then, "Oh, we passed it." Okay, you passed it, and then what? You didn't.
Now it's a stagnant bill. Yeah, now it's a stagnant bill.
Yeah, so you didn't politic it to make it to the governor. How did it get stuck after you passed it in both houses, and it's stuck in some committee, just pile of work? Why is that happening? And listen, I'm happy that the heartbeat bill passed, but that's not
I'm ecstatic that it did, but we need to push it to the governor's desk.
Right. There's a lot of things that we need to, it's like, is this all you're going to give the state of Texas is a heartbeat bill? Like that's right. It? Is that all we're supposed to be like, yay, great job, Texas, with all of the other issues that we have in Texas. And this is the best that you could do. This is
look at the gun bills. Look at the gun bills.
Correct.
There was 57 anti-firearm bills this session.
But I heard constitutional carry made it, but it's sitting as well.
Constitutional. They put so many amendments on it. You can't call it constitutional anymore. It's permitless.
Oh goodness gracious! They'll just do anything. And that was Lieutenant Governor Patrick that did that behind the scenes. Right. Worked against it, and he thinks that we're dumb, and people are sitting there applauding him. Yay! I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, this is ridiculous. We have to hold these politicians accountable, and the best way, April, is to vote them out. That's
primary every one of them.
Primary them and vote them out. Like we cannot let loose at all, and we can't let them bully us with their power tactics or their money.
You're absolutely right.
We have to get out in a grassroots, boots on the ground, talking to people that we've never talked to before. Like all those voters out there, potential voters that have never voted. There's an app that they use, and it's like Advantage, and it tells you what houses to go to that are conservative. Yes. But yet, if you're walking, if you're block walking, April, you'll find out that you hit one house and then you'll skip 10 houses and then you hit another house. What happened to the 10 houses in between? Why don't we knock on their doors?
Who cares if they're Democrat? Go talk to them, because that's where you're going to get your connections.
Well, listen, it's not even about that. They may not even be Democrats. So I've been like, no, I'm going to knock on all the doors. And I've knocked on, some of them are like, oh no, I've never voted. I'm like, what? Right. No one's ever come to talk to me. Okay, I just moved here. Well, you're a perfect person, needs to be registered to vote. And how else are we going to talk to people? And that's what we need to do. We need to establish a whole new voter base.
I am also a BDR, Bianca.
Good for you. Good for you. So am I. That's something that we always have to be, doing, is talking to people. Listen, strike conversations, April, in a coffee shop, somewhere, you got to start having those conversations with people. And even if they're uncomfortable, but your story is powerful, and you need to, not exploit it, but you need to utilize it to strike a conversation about your struggle and your fight for your daughter right now. And that's how it's an issue. It's not about, it's the Republican or Democrat. It's about a personal issue that happened to your daughter. And that's what you need to strike conversations and get some new voters. And that's how we're going to turn this thing around.
Bianca, I'm not just fighting for my daughter. I'm fighting for all of our children. Every one of our children.
Thank you very much, April. We thank you for that. We're going to need more warriors like you. I really, really thank you. And I'm again, on behalf of our organization and myself, we're so sorry that you and your daughter are having to go through this. But I know that God's
don't kill you makes you stronger.
Yes, exactly. And she will, like I said, she will go from a victim to a victor. So we wish you all the best of luck. Please keep us posted. I want to, bring you back on to talk about, the developments in your case. We're going to be praying for her. And hopefully I'd like to get you to call my radio program. I'm La Conservadora Tejana on 1440 Keys every Monday morning at 8 a.m. I want to have you call in and tell our audience there too, because it's close to Benson, Texas. And we need to tell your story. We need to put it out there so people are aware of it. And we do a call of action there as well. We'll have a call of action and have people say, hey, you need to, call your legislators and tell them enough's enough, because now it's affecting our children.
Right. So, you're absolutely right.
Yes. Well, I thank you for your bravery. I thank you for your boldness. And definitely, April, come and do give us developments, and, welcome to our organization. We want to help in whatever way that we can. We can help each other. The more that we build in coalition, the more successful we will be.
I agree with you on that. Don't forget, guys, please, the 31st of May, please, as many as you can, go to the Capitol. That's the only way we're going to make a change.
So Pastor Rick here says he is supporting you and Mike Miller. He says, God bless your podcast, Bianca. Thank you, Pastor. Keep pressing forward and don't back down. I believe the pastors need to preach against a corrupted government. You're exactly right, Pastor. And stop all this cowardly, lukewarm preaching. Wake up, push back. Amen. Thank you, Pastor. You are exactly right. Pastor Rick, you need to be definitely hooked up with Pastor Luis Cabrera, who is on fire right now in the RGV. And that's exactly what he's saying. He says, enough with the lukewarm church. We've got to start pressing back. And or you're not going to have a church. And if you guys haven't seen what happened in Canada, how they're shutting down the churches because of COVID, and literally arresting the pastors and dragging them through the streets.
That is Justin Trudeau.
Yeah, if you don't,
he's part of the Socialist Communist Party.
Yes, and listen, if you don't think that can happen here, it's coming to a city near you if we don't push back.
It's already in Austin.
It's already, it is, it's here. It's in Houston, San Antonio. It's in Austin. It's definitely happening, and we need to push back. We need to push back, and not brutally, not ugly, not maliciously, not, we don't.
We need to be professional and precise.
Yes, exactly. Professional, precise. Now I'm a little bit, I don't know, April, if you haven't noticed, I do, tend to not hold back a lot. So I do push hard, and I hold people accountable. So
There's times I don't have a filter either, Bianca. Trust me.
I know. Sometimes it's just like, that's the only way you're going to get through. I'm like, no, this is the way it's going to go down. It's not, I'm not threatening people. I'm just like, this is the way it's going to go down. It's either this or this. I mean, you're either going to produce, because I didn't, here's the thing. And I don't know about you, but in 2016 and in 2018, I worked my butt off to elect Republicans. Okay.
I did
from
too.
The White House all the way down to the schoolhouse. And let me tell you something, when these people are not doing their job, you better believe it. I'm going to hold your feet to the fire. I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be holding you accountable, because I worked my butt off. Nobody paid me. Your campaigns didn't pay me. Nobody paid me to go and make sure you got elected. And for you to just disregard us like maybe next time, or yeah, act like you're doing something but you're really not, and you're backstabbing us in the back, you better believe that I will not do one thing to lift my finger right now to help you in your future election. You can call me, I'm going to say no thank you, I'm finding somebody else that I'm going to vote for. I'm going to vote for somebody else because you didn't do what you were supposed to do. And April, let me tell you, today alone, I can't even tell you how many phone calls I got about from people saying, I'm running for office here, I'm running for office here. I'm getting phone calls from Florida, Georgia, Nevada, California, Texas. I'm getting calls from everywhere about people that are going to run for office, and they're asking for our organization's help. And I'm going, you know what? I'm really going to vet people. And I'm not going to hand out, our support. And you're going to have to earn it, because we need new leaders. And that's what we're looking for. We really do.
And we need leaders that are going to put America first.
Yes, exactly. Maria Miller says, let's do a call to action. Go to the Capitol on May 31st and support April and her daughter. I agree with you. I think we need to definitely do that. So audience, share this, please. And make sure that you, pray for April and her daughter, and go find her on social media, keep up with her story. And like I said, April, we will want to welcome you back later on to come and just give us an update. And we're going to be praying for all these charges to be dismissed, and for your daughter to recover and some healing, because that's traumatic, to have gone through that, and to have shot somebody, and then you're in shock because you shot somebody. And I'm sure she never in her mind thought that that's something she would have to encounter on her way to school.
Bianca, she was a cheerleader with a straight A average in school.
It's terrible.
She was a basketball player, a volleyball player. She was an All-American kid.
Unbelievable.
All-American kid. And they destroyed her.
Bless her heart. You know what? Like I said, we're going to be praying for her. And we thank you, April. Thank you for being bold and for standing up and standing out. That's our new, kind of motto. What is it? Logo around here is stand up and stand out, el movimiento de la gente, because that's what we feel we have to do. We have to stand up and stand out, and that's what we're going to have to do. So I thank you so much for taking the time this Friday night. I know we're almost at 9 o'clock, but I thank everybody for joining us. Please share April's message and get people to pray and just support her in any which way. And anybody that can go out May 31st, go out to May 31st at the Capitol with her, Mike Miller, at 9 a.m. Also call your legislators and let them know exactly what is happening with her story, and that you demand answers. So thank you, April. Anything else that you would like to tell our audience?
We just got to stand hand in hand, stand strong, pray. Don't let them praying these get lazy, as Lee Bryce says it, and stand strong. We can't let them walk over us no more.
That's right. April, thank you so much for your service to this country as well.
Thank you very much, Bianca. It was my pleasure.
Thank you so much. Y'all have a blessed night. God bless y'all. God bless the state of Texas, and God bless the United States of America, as I always say.
Amen.
Thanks.
Thank you, Bianca.